They say trust is built in drops and lost in buckets. I learned that the day I came home early from work, swung open the door, and had my heart ripped out by the two people I trusted most. If you told me a year ago that my 15-year marriage would go up in flames because of a temporary favor, I would have laughed and cracked open a cold beer. But now, I can't even look at my smoker grill without feeling a knot in my stomach. Claire always had a way of turning chaos into comfort. That was part of her magic. I fell for her because she cared too much, gave too much, never walked past someone in pain without stopping to help. That stubborn, soft-hearted spirit was what drew me in when we were 20-something newlyweds, quoting cheesy movies and eating cereal for dinner. After 15 years of marriage, we were the couple people envied. At least, I thought so. It started on a Saturday, the kind where the backyard smelled like smoked ribs and the only thing I was worried about was whether my IPA would stay cold in the sun. Claire came barreling out of the house, waving her phone like it was on fire. Her high school best friend, Amber, had just been tossed out by her husband, suitcases on the lawn, eyeliner streaked down her cheeks. A real country heartbreak, right out of a Carrie Underwood song. Claire's hazel eyes locked onto mine. "Babe," she pleaded, "Amber's got nowhere to go. Just a few weeks, I swear. Until she figures things out." I didn't leap for joy at the thought of a third adult in our house, but I wasn't going to say no. Claire was my wife. I trusted her. That had always been enough. Amber was 37 like us, but she could have passed for 28 with her gym-toned body and Friday night outfits. She was loud, magnetic, flirty with everyone and everything including, it turned out, the fabric of our marriage. I knew her from barbecues and holiday parties. She was the type who could make a grocery store feel like a catwalk. I never once thought she'd be the catalyst that destroyed my life. The first couple weeks were loud, messy, and drenched in perfume and Pinot Grigio, but tolerable. Claire and Amber fell back into their old rhythm, college memories, inside jokes, and flirty little jabs that always seemed to dance right on the edge of something deeper. I figured they needed each other. Amber was dealing with a divorce, Claire wanted to help. So I stayed out of it. Logged extra hours at work. Tried to ignore how our guest room was turning into a teenage slumber party zone. Then things started to shift. Claire began pulling away. Hugs were rare. She dodged date night with one excuse after another. Her side of the bed felt like the Arctic Circle. When I asked what was wrong, she blamed stress. Said Amber was still hoping to reconcile with her ex, and that everything was just temporary. I wanted to believe her. I really did. Then came the Tuesday that cracked my world open. Around lunchtime, my blood sugar dropped at the office. Blurred vision, shaky hands. I told my boss I needed the rest of the day and drove home, figuring I'd nap, rehydrate, maybe sneak in a few hours of work later. The driveway was hot, the front door unlocked. The house was quiet, too quiet. And then, I stepped inside. I'll never unsee what I saw in those first 30 seconds. There they were, Claire and Amber, wrapped around each other on our living room rug. Frozen mid-motion. It looked like something cut straight out of an adult film reel, only real, raw, and happening in my own home. Amber grabbed a blanket and bolted. Claire fumbled for a pillow, her mouth opening, closing, then opening again like she was rehearsing lines. I couldn't speak. My brain short-circuited. She started crying. Apologizing. When I didn't respond, she turned cold. "This is my apartment anyway," she hissed. "You're the guest. I'll toss you out with your Xbox and your dad jokes." Then the real gut punch, "Amber's better in bed than you ever were." I didn't scream. Didn't throw anything. I walked to the fridge, grabbed a beer, and stepped back outside. That night, I tossed their designer clothes onto the porch, changed the locks, and let Tennessee whiskey lull me to sleep while the walls closed in. Next morning, hungover and hollow, I needed answers. Claire had painted Amber's ex as some monster, but something never sat right. I dug up an old group chat, found his number, Jason, and called. Turns out, Jason wasn't crazy. He was calm, polite, and relieved to hear from me. He told me Amber had cheated. Not just once. With men. With women. On their own couch. He'd kicked her out the night he caught them. Over diner coffee, Jason and I swapped betrayal stories like two war vets. By the second refill, we were plotting what we later called grillside justice. He told Amber he felt bad, wanted to help them land on their feet. Offered his downtown condo for free until they could afford rent. Told them he'd stay with a friend across town. They bought it, hook, line, and Instagram filter. 1 week later, we walked in with a spare key. And there they were. Again. Chaos. Screams. Blankets. Lies. This time, we didn't flinch. We handed them trash bags, pointed toward the door, and told them their free ride was over. Jason, being a lawyer, handled the rest. Prenups. Separate assets. Legal cleanup like he was wiping smudges off a mirror. Claire lost the apartment. Amber forfeited what little she had left from her first marriage. Divorces finalized by Halloween. And me. I finally breathed. Claire's days of manipedis and brunch selfies were over. With no spousal support and nowhere to go, she and Amber were working at a strip mall clothing outlet, renting a one-bedroom showbox miles outside the city. When I saw her months later, she looked human. Tired. Worn. The glow was gone. The shine had faded. She called once. The heater was broken. Rent was late. Could I help? I drove over, saw the mess they called home. 2 mattresses on the floor. A ramen box as a coffee table. Despite everything, I couldn't walk away. I handed her an envelope thick enough to carry her through winter. Told her it was the last kindness she'd get from me. She never called again. Time passed. Slowly at first. Then faster. I met Emily, bright eyes, sharp wit, runs a catering business and owns her own truck. She laughs at my corny jokes, keeps her own money, and treats trust like gold. No drama. No games. We cook together. We plan together. We laugh like we're building something real. Jason met someone too. A school counselor with a love for marathons and zero tolerance for lies. He proposed last Christmas. Funny twist, he and I became actual friends. We watch the game together, swap grill recipes, double date on Taco Tuesdays. I sit across from him, across from Emily, and I don't worry who's looking at who when I get up to use the bathroom.